All right, here we go. Buck up. Fox News alert President-elect Donald Trump nominating Sean Duffy to his cabinet.
The former congressman and Fox Business host is being tapped to replace Pete Buttigieg as transportation secretary.
Yes, that's a story we missed on the couch yesterday. And the Trump transition team now expanding its search for the next Treasury secretary.
Rich Edson is live in West Palm Beach, not far from Mar-a-Lago, and he joins us with the very latest on this Tuesday. Hey, Rich.
Hey, good morning, Steve, Ainsley, Brian, and Lawrence. Well, that's right. You've got Sean Duffy, the former congressman, is President-elect Trump's pick to lead the transportation department. He says Duffy will greatly elevate the travel experience of all Americans. That's something that's needed. Trump said in a statement, quote, Sean will use his experience and the relationships he's built over many years in Congress to maintain and rebuild our nation's infrastructure and fulfill our mission of ushering in the golden age of travel, focusing on safety, efficiency, and innovation. In only 2 weeks since winning the election, Trump has moved very quickly to select his cabinet, though he still has more picks to make. Enter Brian Armstrong. He's the CEO of the cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase. The Wall Street Journal reports Trump was scheduled to meet Armstrong yesterday to discuss personnel appointments. Trump once doubted crypto, but has become a supporter. Armstrong has already publicly endorsed a Trump-appointed SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce to lead that commission. The president-elect is still reviewing candidates for Treasury Secretary. It's a major economic position. He's considering Kevin Warsh, a former member of the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors, Apollo Global Management CEO Mark Rowan, Howard Lutnick, he's the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald. He's also the transition co-chair, and Scott Bessent, he's the founder of Key Square Group, no strangers to Wall Street. Elon Musk is weighed in on this one. You know, Musk has become a major figure in Trump's orbit. He's endorsed Lutnick over Bessent and called Bessent a business-as-usual choice, whereas Lutnick, he says, will actually enact change. Musk has been hanging around Mar-a-Lago. Now it's President-elect Trump's turn to visit Elon. Trump is reportedly traveling to a SpaceX launch in Brownsville, Texas. That's where they're trying to launch those rockets and then recover them so they can reuse them, part of the SpaceX process there. Reportedly, the president-elect's going to go check out a launch later today. Back to you.
All right, Rich, thank you very much.
They should do a buddy movie together.
They're living it. We're watching it. Well, when Trump was on the couch a couple of weeks before the election, he was raving about, and then you saw how SpaceX was able to catch that rocket with the so-called chopsticks, and he was raving about it. So today, the current future former president will be there, 5 o'clock in Texas.
Can someone help me for a second? Who's this Sean Duffy guy? Where is he? Does anyone know?
Your coworker, his wife was sitting next to you yesterday.
Reality show star? Is this him, Sean Duffy? I mean, can you believe this? I mean, he's going to be great, no doubt about it. I mean, he probably would have been governor if he wanted to stay in Wisconsin. And now he comes here doing a fantastic job as an anchor, and Rachel was here yesterday.
Brian is so salty.
I'm so mad at myself. Why did I just ask? By the way, is your husband going to be joining the administration? But no, I'm too absorbed in what Rachel's doing.
We're just going to start asking every guest we have, are you being tapped? Is your spouse being tapped?
Right. Well, she couldn't have said anything because ultimately you don't want to get in front of the president, and he put that out, I think, right about 6 o'clock last night.
She could have whispered it.
So despite what Politico put in one of their headlines, he's not just a former reality star. He actually has a background. He served 9 years as a U.S. congressman where he was on the Financial Services Committee and chair of the subcommittee on insurance and housing. He's a former district attorney in Ashland County, Wisconsin, and he graduated from St. Mary's with a J.D. In law. So he has an extensive resume.
He does indeed, and he's a wonderful guy, a great guy. You know who didn't want him? Elon Musk. Apparently, Elon Musk and a number of other top Silicon Valley people were pushing for another guy. This tech exec by the name of Emil Michael, they were pushing for him. Emil Michael put out a lovely tweet after Sean was tapped and said Sean's going to do a great job. But it just goes to show you there's a lot of jockeying behind the scenes to try to get everybody's person on board. Apparently, Elon Musk continues to push Howard Lutnick for Treasury, but that seems to be going nowhere right now.
Well, he is married to Rachel, our weekend co-host on Fox and Friends, and they have 9 children together. So he's definitely equipped.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Team.
Charming, wonderful, great presenter.
But the only thing is, it is sacrifice. I mean, he just moved to New Jersey. I mean, when you talk about service to the country, that's what he's doing. 9 kids.
I don't know how
him
they
back and
balance it
forth.
all.
Rachel's doing 2 shows now in 2 languages. And now he's going to go to Washington. This is truly service. I just like to add one other thing about Treasury Secretary. Scott Bessent did come up with George Soros. But when he saw where Soros is going off the reservation, he left him.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly the mindset of some of the most insidious planning of the extreme left because he's financing it. And I thought he would be a huge asset for that because he was able to spot that early.
Brian is talking about some of the internal fight, and you may have seen some of the reporting when it comes to Treasury Secretary. A lot of people gunning for the job, and it looks like the president-elect has still yet to make a decision on that. One thing I do know is the people that make it obvious that they want a position have been the people less likely to get the position.
And that's Howard Lutnick.
Correct.
And in fact,
If they push for it, if they campaign for it?
Especially when they push for it publicly. The people that are more reserved and don't say anything. The one thing I appreciate Caroline Leavitt, she was qualified for the job. Everybody wanted her to get the job. Everyone was singing her. She never once said that she wanted the job. And the president-elect took that in mind. And that goes for the rest of them as well.
So the president, is going to sit down with the 2 other Treasury nominees tomorrow and try to figure out. So maybe by Thursday we'll know.
Meanwhile, President Trump is vowing a national emergency. He's going to use the military for mass deportations and crackdown, he says, beginning on day 1.
Right.
Because he says when he's inaugurated, he wants to close our borders. He said that throughout the entire election. The majority of the voters agreed with him, and they want to do something about immigration. But some of these Democratic leaders, it's leaving them in disarray, Brian.
There's a couple of things going on here. Number one, you got to put up the wall at the same time you're doing this. Number 2 is you have to understand these governors and these mayors and these people, the governor of Arizona, a border state, should be ashamed of herself. J.B. Pritzker, you see what's happening in Chicago and you're still pushing back. Jared Polis, my goodness, you have given up Denver. That city's in the toilet. Aurora's about to go out the same direction, and you're still not sticking up for the people that elected you. Maura Healey in Massachusetts, who feels more comfortable taking aim at a congressman in her own state, a left-winger, a Democrat, and then Brandon Johnson, one of the biggest embarrassments in this country, just a radical who just got that job because there's nobody else out there, and Michelle Wu. What do they have in common? They all believe it's up to them to fight for illegals living amongst them. Do they understand that it's criminals they're going for? They're not going to go in there and go into the local kitchens at the local Cheers and pull out people that are handling the fry cooks. They're going for the criminals. So you think it's more important to protect the criminals because you're in that 19 or maybe the 2000 mindset of illegals matter? Yeah, they're people, but they broke the law. One of the main reasons why Donald Trump is president is because of this. And I wish somebody would just put politics aside and look at the welfare of their people. And it might just be the mayor of New York City who met with the president on Saturday briefly, has talked to him before, and he understands what they're doing to this city.
Well, ultimately, and when Tom Homan was with us just last week, when he had just been named, the plan is, and it's been detailed, apparently they're going to get rid of that little app they've got right now. They're going to get rid of that. They're going to stop doing that. They're going to use Remain in Mexico. But here's the key. They are going to prioritize people with criminal convictions and final removal orders. Last year, there were over 1 million of those ordered to leave, and it could take years just to remove that 1 million people who have been told to leave. And so that's one of the problems. Also, the other problem for the current future president is the fact that with the Department of Border Patrol, they currently have 7,000 ICE officers. They deport 250,000 a year. Trump has said he wants to quadruple that number. So they're going to have to recruit a lot more, and the training academies are not equipped for that number. So something's got to give.
Well,
They got to come
So
out.
that's why,
Well, there's a lot
and that's why he's
that's what
using
I
the
was-
military.
That's what I was getting ready to say, Brian. There's a lot of the folks that retired early that could have continued their career that said they want to be back on the job. The second thing I would say is all of those folks that you saw in that big full screen, I've gone to all those states, I've gone to all those cities, and the people there are so ticked off.
I know,
I've
that's
never
why-
seen more people upset at city council meetings than that moment.
It's not a smart message for them to have. The majority of Americans have spoken. They voted for Donald Trump. They like his policies when it comes to immigration because of the stories like Laken Riley. We learned yesterday that Laken Riley's murderer or alleged murderer went through the Roosevelt Hotel, came here to America, is affiliated with that Venezuelan gang, and then we, taxpayers, flew him down on one of those charity flights down to, or humanitarian flights through the government, down to Georgia, so that he could live down there, and that's where he allegedly murdered Laken Riley.
His brothers look as bad as him.
That's the guy we're trying to remove. That's who they want to use the military to get out of our country.
Well, and when you look at the poll results, one of the reasons Donald Trump won was because people are sick of what's going on our southern border. And that's not why on day one he's going to use the military and declare a national emergency, because it is.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.